Welcome here to Jack's Firehouse. My name is Mick, I'm the owner, and we're here with grilling with the Fire Commissioner, and it's my absolute pleasure to once again welcome Fire Commissioner Lloyd Ayers here to help everybody learn about fire safety here as we get into the Labor Day weekend. So great to have you here again, Commissioner.
Well, I tell you, my tag team partner, Jack's Firehouse is where it's all at, and Mick Houston, he's been here 9 years. Making sure that our citizens get the education and the information that they need so that they can grill safely all summer long, and no matter what it is. A little cloudy today, but I'll tell you, that grill smells wonderful. So let's dive in, Mick.
Sure,
what do you have,
Commissioner? Let me tell you, the key thing about grilling, especially this time of year, is always being safe and being prepared for what you have going on. Everybody loves grilling this time of year. I mean, to go out, nothing tastes better, when you have family around and getting on the grill and cooking things up. But the couple things that you have to make sure you're prepared with ahead of time is you're making sure that you take the time to get things set up so you're not going to get yourself in a situation where there's a fire hazard. So what I always want to do is make sure I give myself enough time to make sure I need to do the things that I have to do before we start grilling. So key things, we always have some long-handled equipment here so that you're never putting your hands or your arms over the grill. You always have your clothing set up so it's not loose fitting, so you're not putting any kind of part of your body in risk. You're always keeping the kids away from the grill because you don't want them there. They're always interested in jumping in and helping out, but the grilling is just a adult job. It's not something that we want the kids doing. And then, you know what, if you're not really taking your time and getting yourself set up on a gas grill, and I'll talk about charcoal in a minute because that's what we like using here at Jack's. But if you're not taking the time to set up on a gas grill the right way, you can have a catastrophic event like this. And we don't ever want things like that happening.
Well, we've gotten it a lot more safer now. Since 2002, we got rid of these old valves. If you look and you can see this circular valve, that represents the old ones, much like this. Today, you have to have the three-prong valve because that represents that you have the automatic overflow protection control inside of this. It'll stop leaks, anything that's going to happen if it's not connected properly, and also you won't be able to overfill it. That's a very important feature. So it's a very important thing. If you have this, you can exchange it out. All you have to do is go to the refill station. They'll take this, discard it, and you can purchase a brand new one when you get your new gas. Okay, very important.
Can't emphasize enough how great Lowe's is as a partner in making sure that they have the proper safety equipment that people need to grill safely over the summertime here, and especially as we get into Labor Day. The other thing to make sure you're doing is when you're setting your gas up and you're setting up your gas grill, you need to make sure that this connection is really tight. You need to also make sure you don't have any debris. A lot of times you'll go the whole summer, maybe you start cooking in the beginning of the summer, you don't get back to it to the end of the summer. You want to make sure that that connection is clear of debris, cleaned out. You want to make sure that it's tightly attached to the regulator. And then we often use a little bit of soapy water just here on the end when it's all situated and set up, just to make sure that there's no leaks. Because the last thing you want to do is to be grilling, not minding any business other than taking care of things, and then suddenly you find yourself with a gas leak. No good at all. I'm going to get things started on the charcoal grill, but Commissioner, why don't you tell us about that connection again?
Well, with this connection, sometimes if you don't have a brand new one, like from our sponsor, you'll have one that you stored away. You just want to chase the bugs and things out that might have nested in here. So when you make that connection that Mick just talked about, it's absolutely clear. So you can see this is a perfect place for spiders or anything else crawl up in and just nest for the winter. So make sure that it's all clean so that you can have a nice tight connection. And remember, use the soapy water to test every connection on your grill before you get started. Mick, how about that charcoal?
You know what, Commissioner? There's nothing we like doing better at Jack's Firehouse than grilling in charcoal. Jack, for years, has been the biggest proponent I know as far as using charcoal for grilling. gives a flavor, it gives a subtlety that meat and fish and vegetables, they don't get it from the gas grill. So we love using the charcoal. You have seen this before a lot of times. This is lighter fluid. We don't like using lighter fluid here. Lighter fluid works fine, but again, it's a question of being safe. So if you want to be safe and use the lighter fluid, just be very careful in using it. We like using the chimney. Chimneys, this cost me 20 bucks at Lowe's. About 5 years ago, we used it 6 or 7 times a month over the summertime here. It is as simple as putting the charcoal in up top. You get to the bottom, you're going to light the newspaper on the bottom. Make sure the newspaper is spread out and it's not all clumped into one big roll. You set that back in your grill. Safe and sound, 20 minutes from now you will have charcoal perfectly ready to use. People don't realize how good of a system this chimney is in being safe while you're grilling. So in 20 minutes, that'll be a terrific, well-lit charcoal without using any kind of fluid at all, and you will have yourself set up to grill and safe.
One thing to add, Mick, ditto. That's my favorite, charcoal, that's all I use.
Again, the other thing is make sure you're setting your grill up ahead of time so that it has plenty of space around it. You should be setting it up where it's nice and level so there's not a big wiggle like there is there. You want to make sure you're setting it up downwind so that you're able to control some of the heat by just simply closing the lid if you get yourself in a situation where the fire is too intense. Again, these are things that happen to you when you're grilling that you don't expect them to happen right off the bat. You have to be prepared for it. You have to have a plan. You always have to have this standing by closely.
Absolutely. Adult activity. Grilling is an adult activity, whether it's gas, charcoal, whatever the case. Make sure you also keep the pets away. They're going to be curious. They get close, they could knock it over, they could injure themselves. Remember, little children, this gets very hot. Only if they touch it one time, they're burned. So children away, pets away.
That's it. You know, an adult activity. Again, it's fun for the whole family to be around, but you have to keep their distances. Now we step on back over here. I'm going to go back to the big grill now that we got cooking. I'm just going to show you some other pieces that are important as far as grilling goes. Again, I have long-handled utensils. It is hot over that grill. You don't realize how hot it's going to get once you get more grease and more food juices out onto that. See, we have some really nice ribs that we serve here at Jack's Firehouse. Got the fish going, got smoked chicken, and again, even the vegetables will go over here. But again, the key is to be safe. You just keep your distance from the heat. You keep the food spread around the outside perimeter. There's no reason to ever have to feel like you have to cook over the middle of the coals. That's the most dangerous, the most intense part of the heat. So again, you can take your time, do it Jack Firehouse style, get yourself some nice ribs going. I'm gonna get some of these tomatoes down on the grill. I'm gonna put some fish down there as well, because I know that the commissioner, he's a fish man.
Absolutely. Now, what was that secret sprinkle that you put on there? I'm sorry.
That's going to stay that way. But again, keeping yourself safe, keeping your food to the perimeter, and cooking and keeping an eye on it, keeping the kids away. All these are key things to grilling safely over the summertime.
Absolutely. So remember, people will grill on into the autumn, a lot of backyard parties and all of those types of things. And we want our folks to remember, have a lot of fun, but also remember, you can grill on porches and decks if it's 1 or 2 story families, right?
Right.
1 or 2 story home. But if it's an apartment or anything like that, decks, balconies, porches, no grilling.
No
It's the
grilling.
law. You can't grill.
And again, we don't want anybody to get themselves in a situation where they're going to put themselves or their neighbors at risk.
Absolutely.
And that's something that a lot of people in town don't even realize. If you have a balcony that's above a 2nd story, there's no grilling allowed on that balcony, so don't do it. And then what was the the situation as far as the grilling
Distance. Okay, yeah,
Well-
distance from anything combustible, you want to make sure that it's at least 10 feet.
10 feet. All right,
Okay, and with the charcoal, remember, you can't grill with charcoal in an enclosed area because it emits carbon monoxide. It's a solid fuel, and we have to remember that of all of the fires that we had, of all of the carbon monoxide incidents that we had in 2012 nationally, carbon monoxide is a very dangerous one, and we want to make sure that people stay away. But with the structure fires, that we had, 81% of them was from propane gas. Okay, so just make sure that you stay away from the combustibles, and make sure that you don't grill in an enclosed area with charcoal.
And again, the other key thing is, after you're finished with your charcoal, is properly disposing it. You can't just leave the coals out there to wind down on themselves. They may last in that grill for days. So make sure you properly take the time. They need to go into a metal container. They need to have some moisture on it. You need to be careful about it. You need to keep the kids away while you're doing it. Again, it's something that is key in making sure that you start safe and you finish safe.
Absolutely. Don't dump it in the trash. We dump a whole gallon all over that charcoal if it's still burning. And then later on, we know that it's safe to dispose of in the trash.
Well, Fire Commissioner, again, I think all these terrific safety tips come out whenever we're out talking about this stuff. I hope that people get a chance to come down and have some nice food at Jack's Firehouse if you're not grilling yourself this weekend. Fire Commissioner, pleasure as always to have you down here. And I hope everybody stays safe and you don't get too many calls.
Absolutely.
All
Bon
right.
appetit.